Gunman Boxing, the baddest boxing channel in the UK. We are doing a post-fight analysis of James DeGale. His BKFC debut went down against Matt Jedi Floyd, the former gangster from Australia. Why on earth, on God's green earth, is DeGale doing bare knuckle boxing? As a purist, we do not like to see this. I mean, maybe the bills still need to be paid, and that's why he was in there. You know, this brother has been in with the likes of George Groves. He's been in with the likes of Andre DeGale. He's been in with Chris Eubank Jr. He's been in with Lucien Butte, Paul Smith. He's age 39. You know, maybe the landlord's still knocking on the door. You know what I mean? Looking for the rent arrears, because I think no one understands why James DeGale was in that ring punching away bare knuckle in Manchester on BKFC. It was sad to see, man. You know, Chunky DeGale, you know, former gold medalist, Olympic gold medalist, former super middleweight world champion. Chunky, man. He was getting pieced up like a Kit Kat at times in there, you know what I mean? One of those chunky Kit Kats, you know? It wasn't good to see, you know. He got roughed up in there big time, you know what I mean? The bell went, and it was like after 30 seconds, that buddy was like, "Oh man, I do not want to be here. What have I got myself into?" Do you know what I mean? You could see it. He didn't want to be there, you know what I mean? He was like a kid in a dentist chair. Did not want to be there, you know? When I used to go to the barber as a kid, you know what I mean? And then brother would pull out one of them picks, you know, iron picks, and start going through your afro. You just don't want to be there. One of them ones. You just don't want to be anywhere near it. That's how he looked, man. He was getting clinched up in there, getting roughed up. He was getting put in a straitjacket and thrown around like Ryanair luggage. You know, he won the fight unanimous decision. And I can only say that that must have happened because Matt Jedi Floyd, the rough, rugged warrior from Australia, got deducted 3 points in the fight. DeGale also got deducted a point, but you know, Jedi Floyd got deducted for headbutting him at the end of one of the rounds. And it was a dirty fight. It was a really dirty scrap, you know. And you know, that's all I can say is like, you know, all I can say is that if it wasn't for those points deductions, he was comprehensively beaten in my eyes. And the punch stats don't lie either. You know, the punch stats have it that he was getting, you know, pecked to death. You know what I mean? It wasn't in his favor at all. I don't want to see DeGale fighting bare knuckle. Same way I don't want to see Jake Paul beating up Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? You don't want to see Iron Mike getting ironed out, you know, by a YouTuber. Well, same thing. I don't want to see DeGale tarnishing his career, continuing to do bare knuckle. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think it was a good move? Do you think if the money's stacking right, then that brother should be in there? Do you think he just loves fighting and wants to be in there? But I was at his fight with Chris Eubank Jr. A mere 6 years ago, and that brother then he was washed up, man. You know what I mean? He should have been sponsored by Fairy Liquid because he was up. You know, and that was 6 years ago, maybe more. And it was a really poor performance. And then he comes in against Jedi Floyd, and Matt Jedi Floyd's a good boxer, but DeGale in his prime, you know, it was a world level pugilist. But bare knuckle is different to the bare knuckle boxing. Let's be honest. You know, boxing is different. Glove boxing is different. You know, the clinching is different. They can hold on the back of the head and throw uppercuts, and it's fine. I mean, jabs are putting people down in the bare knuckle. Jabs are putting brothers down. You know what I mean? It's brutal. You know, you can get poked in the eye. You can get you know, broken orbitals and nose very, very easily, off of deflected shots. Even, you know, you win a fight and you come out cut up and sliced up. Do you know what I mean? So it's a different thing. But interesting to see Conor McGregor selling the idea, selling the dream to DeGale after the fight. So in the post-fight interview, He says to DeGale, I want to see you become a two-sport champion. Do you know what I mean? But mate, to me, DeGale looked out of place in there, man. He looked like an ashtray on a motorbike type of thing, you know? He just looked out of place. I don't want to see him try and tackle bare knuckle. And the boxers that have gone into bare knuckle recently haven't done well. Frankie Gavin stopped in around. Jamie Cox stopped recently in a fight. Travis Dickinson was stopped in around on the same show. Like the boxers aren't doing that well on there. Admittedly, it's old, washed up fighters that are going on there. They're not going on in their primes. But nah, leave it alone, Chunky. Leave it alone. You've got a really quality career. You know, the boxing purists just hate to see it. You know, we just don't like to see it. Look, he didn't do himself like full of disgrace. I don't want to look like I'm completely tarnishing the brother, because if you get in that ring and you fight anyone bare knuckle, I've got respect for you, and anyone has to have respect for you. You've done yourself proud. If you get in there and you fight bare knuckle, you're an absolute warrior. You know, you're an absolute savage. Next man down the pub would be like, they're happy to, someone pinches their misses his ass, and they're happy to have a scrap bare knuckle. But you tell a man train for 10 weeks and in front of thousands of people punch up the next man, bare knuckle boxing, people will be like, absolutely not. No chance. Do you know what I mean? No chance whatsoever. You know what I mean? So you've got to respect the brother. Do you know what I mean? You've got to respect him. But let me know what you think, guys. Do you think it was a bad move from DeGale? Do you know what I mean? Is he just looking for papers? Or does he have a dream to be a two-sport champion? Do you want to see him fight bare knuckle again? I must say the BKFC, it's a couple of shows I've gone to now, and it is savage. The fights are exciting. They're brutal. It's really rough sport. As I said, you're seeing people absolutely malfunction in there. Every fight is savage. Every fight is bloody. Every fight is entertaining. You know what I mean? It is really brutal sport. It's exciting, and I've definitely enjoyed watching it. But why are washed up boxers going into it? Why are washed up boxers going into it? It must be the papers. It can be the only reason. You know what I mean? The landlord must be knocking on the door. Do you know what I mean? The gas bill must be coming through quicker than it can be paid, because there's no other reason to be jumping in there and getting your face all bruck up and marked up like that. You know what I mean? You come out there looking like Freddy Krueger, your face absolutely sliced, sliced open. So I can't see the benefits. Some people say it's an ugly man sport. You can't care about your looks if you're going to be jumping in there and getting pieced up. But yeah, DeGale, he gave good account of himself, and don't get me wrong, it was a close fight. But definitely there was some surprise over decision for sure. There was a surprise over the decision. Some people thought Matt Jedi Floyd just roughed him up. Do you know what I mean? Tossed him about like like he was mixing up some salad. Do you know what I mean? He was getting tossed all over the gaff. It was an ugly fight. It was a nasty fight. Let us know if you think DeGale should continue into bare knuckle. Should he stay on the bare knuckle scene, or should he just bounce now, call it a day, ride off into the sunset, get on the PlayStation 5 and go and find something else to do? Let us know, like, comment and share, my brothers. Gunman Boxing, the baddest boxing channel in the UK. This is my DeGale post-fight analysis.